Hello, it's time for another virtual field trip. Today we're at the Eagle River Nature Center, and this is part one of two. We're going to walk the Rodak Trail out to the viewing area. The Eagle River Nature Center is located about 30 minutes north of Anchorage. Once you get there, you need to check in at the cabin here just to see if there's been any animal sightings and any news that you might need to know on your hike. Today, we're going to do one of the shorter trails that they have here called the Rodak Nature Trail. It is 3/4 of a mile if you do it all in once, and it should take you about 15 or 20 minutes if you don't stop and read all the signs. Today, you're going to be hiking, and these are the two different ways you can hike. Level 1 is just a simple lunge step, alternating feet. Level 2 is a jump lunge. You can switch at any time if you get tired, and if you want to, you can just simply walk in place. Here's what the 1-minute timer looks like. It'll help you know how much time is left to do that exercise. Now it's time to talk about today's exercise target. We have 5 of them that you might see along the way. First one is a bench. If you see a bench, we're going to do squats for a minute. Now there's lots of animals out here, so if we see an animal, we're going to drop down and do toe touches. And this first part of the trip is an informational trip, which has lots of signs. If we see a sign, we're going to do jumping jacks. And if you see a flower, we're going to drop down and do crunches. And finally, if we see some kind of cool tree, which there's lots of them out here, we are going to do alternating Superman. So now that we've checked in, we walk around the back of the cabin. This is where they do a lot of their educational programs. All right, now that we've checked in at the cabin and we've read all the signs, it's time to get walking on our virtual hike. Are you a level 1 or a level 2? Pick one of those, lunges or jump lunges. All right, there's a target, a bench. Do you remember what it was? That's right, benches equal squats. 1 minute of squats. Let's go. While you're doing your squats, here's an example of a sign that you can see when you check in. Tells the trail condition, tells if there's been any bear sightings, and all that information that might be useful if you're out going out. Here's another sign. You never want to just walk past signs, especially if they're right in the middle of the trail. This one's talking about making sure we still social distance during the coronavirus. It's also reminding us to make sure we clean up after our dogs and keep them on a leash if we're taking them on our hike. And lastly, this sign talks about how the Iditarod Trail used to run through here. Not the race itself. This is way before the race was even invented. Before they had good roads to get supplies around, they used dog teams to get supplies from town to town. As you can see, we're done with those squats. Great job. Time to get hiking again. We found a sign. This sign's talking about how this valley was actually carved by a glacier. All right, time for jumping jacks and to learn some bear safety.
When traveling through bear country, you always want to maintain a heightened sense of awareness and always assess the area that you're traveling through. Assess it for visibility and the amount of noise that you should be making or that's also present in the environment. The human voice is unmistakably human, and it's the only noise that we can make that is such. Nothing else, clapping hands, whistling, bear bells, nothing like that is markedly human in an animal's mind. Their sense of smell is very good, most animals, but their vision may not be because of the visibility of the location, the brush. If you're in thick brush, they're not going to be able to see, they might be able to smell, but they could be able to hear you. So make some noise if you're in thick brush.
All right, great job. Time to get hiking again. All right, I see a bunny. That's an animal. Remember what that target was?
Bear is aware of you. Talk calmly to it. Tell the bear it's okay and back away slowly. Remove yourself from the situation. Never run away from a bear. Everything in your body will be telling you, run. Don't. If you run, you will trigger the bear's natural reaction and instinct to chase. Staying put is much better than being chased by a bear. You should be feeling lucky that you have seen a bear. Remain calm. There's nothing to worry about. Hopefully you've been making your presence known by staying aware, making noise, being smart about your situation and constantly assessing it. The bear should know that you are coming. So the faster you can decide of how to remove yourself from that situation, the better the situation will turn out.
Now it's time to get hiking again. Great job, we found another sign. This one's talking about how the seasons happen because of the tilt of the earth. Jumping jacks, and we're going to learn about those pesky mosquitoes.
How could we kill off all of the mosquitoes? The first thought is probably pesticides. While various pesticides have had a decent amount of success in controlling mosquito populations in the past, the problem here is that pesticides can be dangerous for people too. Basically, to provide a bit of oversimplification, the more effective a pesticide is, and the more of it you use, the more you put people at risk. Pesticides are still used around the globe today at levels that have been deemed safe by local governments, but to use enough pesticides to kill off all of the mosquitoes just wouldn't be a safe bet. Okay, well then maybe we could go a more natural route and get a bunch of animals together that eat mosquitoes, like bats, to wipe them out. I mean, one study back in the day said that a single bat could catch up to 10 mosquitoes in a minute. Extrapolate that out, and a group of 1,000 bats could catch 1,000,000 mosquitoes in under 2 hours. Now that's a battle of the bloodsuckers. Sounds like it would work, right? Well, that...
All right, now we're done. It's time to get hiking again. to several signs, and this isn't the outlook yet. We're not quite there, but this is a beautiful outlook. All right, time to get doing some jumping jacks.
Reality would likely be far more disappointing. Even though you can pull some impressive numbers from that study, that was with hungry bats essentially locked up in a room with only mosquitoes to feed on. In the wild, while bats do sometimes feed on mosquitoes, they tend to prefer munching on other things like moths or even spiders. So that idea is probably out. Now you might be thinking, Blocko, what if we just got a bunch of big bug zappers to kill off all the mosquitoes? Again, not such a great idea, sorry. That's because bug zappers aren't really that amazing at killing mosquitoes, but they do end up killing a bunch of beneficial insects that aren't really seen as pests. Well, there goes my idea for a new tower defense game. Okay, so if all of that stuff is out, then what will work? Some research that's gained traction recently involves genetically modifying mosquitoes so that they wouldn't be able to properly reproduce, or that they would effectively kill any other mosquitoes that they mated with. Yeah, that's brutal. Beyond that, a new study that came out just this year...
Great job. We just had read a sign about beaver dams, and we're going to go out on this outlook and see if we can see any beavers. No beavers, but we are at a bench, so it's time to do some squats.
That's brutal. Beyond that, a new study that came out just this year may have the answer. Starting back in 2016, scientists were able to nearly eliminate disease-carrying Asian tiger mosquitoes on 2 small islands in China. The researchers' battle plan? Infect the mosquitoes with a virus-fighting bacterium and then zap them with a small dose of radiation to help sterilize them. This caused the number of female mosquitoes responsible for spreading disease to drastically plummet, with some periods of time showing no signs of disease-carrying mosquitoes at all. Promising results for sure, but these methods probably aren't very practical for larger areas. Researchers had to release up to 4 million mosquitoes each week to achieve these results, not even factoring in all of the cost. But hey, at least this might be a decent tactic for certain smaller applications. Now, animator, can you please get rid of these digital mosquitoes? Some of their bites are causing pop-up pimples. So, do you have...
Great job. Now it's time to get walking again. Another bench kind of in a treat area next to this really cool piece of art, which is a bench, so we need to do some squats. While we're at the bench, we're going to learn about some moose safety.
General overview of the life cycle, diet, and behavior of the mighty moose. But in this video, we'll be taking a look at another characteristic of these animals which is not so well known. Much of the general public tend to think of moose as big, dumb, slow, overgrown deer that behave much like the silly cartoon characters they've been depicted by over the years. In reality, though, nothing could be further from the truth. Moose are intelligent animals with sharp senses, and they're incredibly fast and agile. And unbeknownst to many people, moose can be very temperamental, aggressive, and downright dangerous. In fact, far more people have been hurt and killed by moose over the years than by bears, who seem to get all of the publicity for being a threat to humans. Since both moose and people tend to spend time in similar...
All right, time to get back to hiking. sign, but we're going to take a break this time and read the sign and learn a little bit more about moose safety. But this is our rest break, so you can take a rest. If you have water, you could drink water.
Lower elevation areas of woods and wetlands, especially along lakes and river systems, it's not uncommon for uneducated tourists or outdoor enthusiasts such as fishermen, hikers, campers, and wildlife viewers to get into trouble when encountering a moose. Moose can also be a source of potential danger for folks in more urban areas where the moose sometimes live or pass through, such as in Anchorage, Alaska. But no matter where you may encounter a moose, either in the wild or walking down the city streets, there are some things to be aware of to stay safe around these huge, powerful animals. Much like bears, who again get most of the blame for being a danger to humans, moose don't like it much when you become a perceived threat to their food, their family, or their personal space. And they also don't like to be surprised. So first and foremost,
never approach a moose, that's for sure. All right, our break is over. It's time to get hiking again. We found another sign. This sign's talking about marshes. But we're actually gonna, while we're doing jumping jacks, learn more animal safety.
Moose display warning signs in their body language when they're getting agitated and angry and are possibly about to launch an attack. Moose will lay back their ears on the side of their head, bristle up the fur around their head and neck, and possibly even lick their lips like a dog who's about to bite. They may also start to slowly approach you with their head in a more downward position, which can be a prelude to a charge. When encountering a moose, whether it's in a wild or urban setting, and whether it's acting aggressive or not, give it plenty of space. Immediately look for potential escape routes to safely get around the moose, and as an added precaution, try to stay close to some kind of a protective barrier, such as a large tree or some other kind of obstacle, just in case the moose does decide to charge. And if the moose does, in fact, charge, run away and get out of the line of attack as fast as possible.
Great job. All right, it's time for us to get hiking again. We've almost made it. Here's a really cool sign about the life cycle of a salmon. They even get salmon swimming all the way up here. We're a long ways from the ocean. All right, time to do a few more jumping jacks and finish our animal safety.
Which, by the way, is the exact opposite of what you do in a bear attack, as running away only intensifies the chase instinct for most bears. And while moose can run very fast, they generally don't chase people too far and will stop once the person is out of the immediate area. If you accidentally stumble upon a moose that's resting or come across one in close quarters and there's no time or place to run to, pepper spray and other deterrent devices that are commonly used on bears can be effective on moose as well, which is the subject of another of my past videos. Finally, if a moose does knock you down and begin kicking and stomping, as a last resort, just like in a bear attack, Curl up in a ball to protect your head, neck, and vital organs, and wait till the moose moves on. Now obviously, this would be a very painful and life-threatening ordeal.
As you can see, we're at the boardwalk, so let's do some cool down walking as we look out among the beautiful scenery. A lot of people come out here just to look at the scenery. It's very peaceful, quiet. Great job on your effort. And we made it out here, and there was even a moose out in the water. We got to see a moose on our hike here. Let's take a second to cool down. Pick one of these stretches, and let's do it for 10 seconds. Hold it there, focus, try not to move. Great job. Now pick another one. If you're doing the side leans, lean one way for 10 seconds and lean the other way for 10 seconds. But let's stretch it out. Remember to focus on your breathing. All right, slowly relax and pick one more stretch for 10 more seconds. Hold it there, focus on breathing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job.